Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth Hora here, public archaeologist at the Utah State Historic Preservation Office. And I have been playing around with Lidar a lot and thought that I would share with you a little bit about what Lidar is, how archaeologists use it. So Lidar stands for light detection and ranging. And much like radar, what it's doing is it's sending a signal out, in this case, a light pulse instead of a sound pulse, and then measuring how long it takes that light to reflect back to the device. In so doing, it's creating a three-dimensional map of a whole bunch of points that we actually are going to call vertices from now on. And then the LiDAR that I'm using on iPad Pro takes it one step further and is taking photographs as well. And it's stretching, bending, and contorting those photographs over those vertices. So today I'm just going to show you the end result. This is the end result of an excavation that the State Historic Preservation Office, the BLM, and Passport in Time just finished out at Terrace, Utah. So what you're looking at here is the big square of an excavation block. And within that excavation block, you're actually looking at the floor and a couple of walls of a Chinese bunkhouse. So here's what we did. We opened up the excavation block, had the excavators do their normal business, going down, down, down in their 1 by 1 meter squares at arbitrary 10 centimeter levels. And then when it was all done, I hopped in here with an iPad Pro. And that's all I'm using. iPad Pros, the new ones, come with LiDAR built in. And then there's a really fantastic app, 3D LiDAR for iPad Pro, that you can use to scan in these images. And so, like I said, the LiDAR is taking the points, bing, 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 and getting the distance from you to the object, and then taking photographs of the object and stretching that over it. The end result, once you've walked around and taken your iPad and like zooted it around all 360 dimensions, the end result is something like this. So you can see, I'm trying to focus in right here on this piece of wood. This was a corner of the Chinese bunkhouse. And you can see it was actually probably part of a railroad trestle or railroad tie, most likely. So you can see we can zoom in all the way. From this angle, you can see pretty clearly that this structure has burned. There was a big fire out in Terrace, and then, subsequent wildfires throughout the modern era. Coming over here to the sidewall where we have not brought it out all the way to the supporting wall of the Chinese bunkhouse, we can zoom in pretty close and see that there are big hunks of charcoal in there. That's probably more sidewall that burned. That's probably some of the roof that burned, some other objects that might have been in there, like furniture, like, bookshelves that might have been built into the wall. So we dug through a lot of charcoal. Did find some artifacts. And partially that's because check these floorboards. Little tiny things fall beneath floorboards. So once you get a little bit underneath them, sometimes you'll find things like, in this case, coins and go pieces, little tiny glass pieces that were used for a board game that people around the world still love today. One last thing before we kind of close out here. You can see, and I'm going to try to get us over to it. You can see in these floorboards, there's kind of a big hole in the middle. That was from looters. Looters were able to see some of the walls sticking up out of the dirt, and they thought to themselves, I bet you that someone left something cool in that house. And so they found what looks to be just about the center of it, and they just dug a round hole straight down until they hit floorboards, dug a little below floorboards, and then walked away. We'll never know what they found in there. So this LiDAR used to be really prohibitively expensive. Now it is accessible to silly folks like me who have never used Lidar before. I just used my iPad Pro. I just bought it over the winter for this purpose. There is a free app that you can download that will help you take these excellent pictures. You can also take 3D scans of smaller objects as well. Ian and I have been kicking around the idea of having quarterly workshops that would be a part of the Utah Public Archaeology Network. And of course, as stewards, you guys would be given first dibs on registering for those workshops. And so one of the workshops that we're thinking of doing for fall is how to use Lidar. So we'll go out to archaeological sites, we'll train on how to use Lidar and how to create these very cool 3D models. Like I said, I love it. I am obsessed with 3D modeling now. And hopefully someone watching this has also gotten the bug like I have, and maybe you want to come join me and learn about 3D modeling. So that's all I've got for today. Just wanted to show you guys what this is. We can link to it as well in the Stewardship Insider so that you can see this for yourself, zoom in, zoom out, crawl around and get a sense of what this LiDAR is capable of. So thanks so much. And I appreciate your time.